There is a fatal mistake, a nearly invisible detail that most men make when hugging a woman without even realizing. But it immediately tells her subconscious that you lack masculine energy. The truth is, very few men actually know how to hug a woman the right way. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 types of hugs, what each one communicates about you to her subconscious, and the 4th one. That 4th one is what separates the men who stay in her memory from the ones who are easily forgotten. Almost no one talks about it. So stay with me. Before we go deeper, I want you to pause for a second. Think about the last time you hugged a woman. Not just what you did, but what she might have felt. Did she lean in or slightly pull away? Did it feel natural or a bit awkward? If this already has you thinking, go ahead and like the video. It tells me you're paying attention to the small details that most people completely miss. And I want you to answer this honestly in your mind. Have you ever felt unsure about how to act in that exact moment? My name is Sarah Jones, and what I do is help you understand what women actually feel, but rarely say out loud. No sugarcoating, no guessing games, just real psychology explained in a way that you can actually use in your life. And I want to say something important before we go any further. If you've ever gotten this wrong, if you've ever had a moment that felt awkward, disconnected, or just off, you're not alone. And more importantly, you weren't taught this. Society gives you scripts, what to say, how to impress, how to be confident, but it completely ignores one of the most powerful forms of communication, physical presence. And here's where it gets really interesting. There's a core principle in female psychology that explains everything we're about to talk about. Women feel first, and then they think, not the other way around. While you're analyzing the situation, wondering if it's the right moment, if you should go in, how long to hold it, her body has already made a decision, not consciously, not logically, but emotionally. This happens in a part of the brain called the limbic system, the emotional center. It reacts before logic even has a chance to speak. And a hug? A hug goes straight there. It bypasses words, bypasses logic, and speaks directly to emotion. In less than 4 seconds, her body is asking and answering a question she doesn't even realize is there. Do I feel safe with this man? Does he have presence? Does he know who he is? And here's the part most men don't want to hear, but need to. You can be funny, you can be successful, you can say all the right things, but if that moment of physical contact feels wrong, her body overrides everything else. That's how powerful this is. So now let's break this down in a way that you'll never forget. The first mistake is what I call the weak hug. You've seen it. You've probably done it. Your arms barely make contact, your body stays at a distance, there's almost no pressure, like you're afraid to fully commit to the moment. Sometimes it's just one arm, that polite, almost hesitant side hug. On the surface, it seems harmless, respectful even, but psychologically, it communicates uncertainty. It tells her without a single word, I'm not fully sure of myself right now. And she won't sit there and think that consciously. She won't label it or analyze it, but she will feel it, and feelings stick. Let me give you a real-life scenario. Imagine you meet someone you've been talking to for a while. There's some chemistry, some curiosity, you finally see each other in person. There's a moment where a hug feels natural. But instead of stepping in with intention, you hesitate. You lean slightly, extend one arm, keep your torso back. She smiles. Maybe she even hugs you back. But something shifts. Later she might say, he was nice. But the spark, the emotional imprint, it's missing. And she won't know why. That's the power of that one small moment. Because a weak hug doesn't just feel weak physically, it feels uncertain emotionally. And uncertainty is the opposite of attraction. Now let's move to the second mistake. And this one is just as damaging, but in a completely different way. The aggressive hug. This is when a man tries to overcompensate. Too much pressure, too tight, holding on for too long, or worse, letting his hands move in ways that don't match the moment. This isn't confidence, it's a lack of awareness. And from her perspective, it feels like her space is being taken, not shared. Her body reacts instantly: tension, discomfort, a subtle urge to pull away. And the question her subconscious asks is very simple: does he respect my boundaries? And the moment that question appears, attraction disappears. Let that sink in. Because a lot of men think being strong means being intense. But real presence isn't about force. It's about control. Now, before I go to the third mistake, I want you to check in with yourself again. Which one have you done more often? The weak hug or the overly aggressive one? Be honest. Because awareness is where everything starts. And what I'm about to show you next is something most people completely overlook. Part 2. The third mistake is what I call the ghost hug, and this one is subtle, but incredibly powerful, because on the outside, it looks like a normal hug. Your arms are there, your body is close, but your mind? Somewhere else entirely. You're thinking about what to say next. You're distracted, maybe you're slightly tense, maybe you're holding your breath without even realizing it. Maybe you end the hug too quickly, like the moment burned your hand. And she feels it, not logically, not consciously, but emotionally. She feels like you're not really there, like she's hugging someone who's physically present, but mentally absent. And that creates a very specific emotional response: disconnection. It's the kind of feeling that's hard to explain, but impossible to ignore. Have you ever hugged someone and felt like it meant nothing? That's the ghost hug, and here's the deeper truth. Presence is not about being close. It's about being there. Fully, emotionally, mentally, physically. Women are incredibly sensitive to this, not because they're overthinking, but because their emotional awareness is tuned to pick up these signals instantly. So when you're not grounded in the moment, she feels it. And when she feels that lack of presence, she starts to emotionally detach. Now here's where everything changes. Because once you understand these 3 mistakes, you're already ahead of most men. But knowing what not to do is only half the equation. What really matters is what to do instead. And this is where the 4th type of hug comes in. The one almost no one talks about. The one that creates emotional impact. The one she remembers. The real masculine hug. Now I want you to imagine this. You see her. There's a natural moment for a hug, but this time you don't hesitate. You step in with calm certainty. Your feet are grounded. Your posture is stable, not stiff, but centered, because physical stability communicates emotional stability. And that's something her body immediately responds to. One hand goes gently but firmly between her shoulder blades. The other rests naturally at the middle of her back. Not too low, not too high, just right. Your chest aligns with hers, not in a forceful way, but in a connected way. There's consistent pressure, not crushing, not weak, just present. And here's the detail that changes everything. You breathe, slow, natural, relaxed, because when you breathe, your body relaxes. And relaxation is contagious. If you're calm, she feels calm. If you're grounded, she feels safe. And this is where something subtle but powerful happens. Her body starts to mirror yours. That's how human connection works. Now let's talk about timing. The ideal hug lasts between 2 to 4 seconds. That's it. Long enough to create a real emotional imprint, short enough to keep it natural. It's not that quick tap that feels like a formality. And it's definitely not an awkward, never-ending hold. It's intentional. And then you end it. Not abruptly, not hesitantly, but smoothly. You release with calm control. Maybe your hands lightly slide down her arms as you step back. You look at her, eye contact, a relaxed smile. And in that moment, something registers in her mind, not as a thought, but as a feeling. This felt different. And that feeling, that's what she remembers. Part 3. Now here's what most men completely underestimate. A hug is not just a greeting, it's a signal. A micro expression of who you are, your confidence, your awareness, your emotional presence, all of it. Communicated in seconds. And the reason this matters so much is because attraction is not built on words. It's built on feelings. You don't create attraction by explaining who you are. You create it by how you make her feel when she's around you. And moments like this, they carry more weight than entire conversations. Let me give you a deeper perspective. Think about the people you naturally feel comfortable with, the ones you trust without needing a reason. It's not because of what they say, it's because of how they make you feel in their presence. Calm, seen, safe. That's what emotional connection looks like. And that's exactly what this kind of hug creates. Now I want you to imagine something. A week passes after you meet her. She's thinking about her interactions, different conversations, different people. And then she remembers you. Not because of a specific line you said, but because of a feeling she can't quite explain. That's the difference. That's the level most men never reach because they're focused on doing more instead of being more present. So here's something I want you to try. The next time you hug a woman, don't rush it. Don't overthink it. Just focus on being fully there. Feel your feet on the ground. Breathe. Move with intention. And pay attention to her response. Not with anxiety, but with awareness. Because this is not about performing. It's about connecting. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Now I'm curious. Have you ever experienced a hug that actually stayed with you? Not because it was romantic, but because it felt real? If you have, you already understand what I'm talking about, and if you haven't yet, you will. Because once you start applying this, things change. People respond differently, connections feel deeper, and you stop second-guessing yourself in moments that used to feel uncertain. If this opened your eyes even a little, then you're exactly the kind of person this channel is for. On the Female Signals, we go deeper into the psychology of attraction, connection, and the subtle signals that most people completely miss. So if you want to understand not just what women say, but what they feel, make sure you subscribe and stay with me. Because what you're learning here, most people go their entire lives without ever realizing it. The third mistake is what I call the ghost hug. And this one is subtle, but incredibly powerful. Because on the outside, it looks like a completely normal hug. Your arms are there, your body is close. If someone else looked at it from a distance, they wouldn't notice anything wrong. But she does. Because your mind isn't there. You're thinking about what to say next. You're worried about how you're being perceived. Maybe you're slightly tense. Maybe you're holding your breath without even realizing it. Or maybe you end the hug too quickly, like the moment made you uncomfortable. And in that exact moment, she feels something shift. Not logically, not consciously, emotionally. She feels like you're not really with her. Like she's hugging someone who is physically present, but mentally somewhere else. And that creates a very specific emotional reaction. Disconnection. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a conversation where the other person was nodding, responding, even smiling, but you could tell they weren't really listening? That strange, empty feeling? That's exactly what a ghost hug feels like. And it hits even deeper, because physical contact is supposed to create connection, not distance. So when the body is close, but the presence is missing, it creates confusion in her emotional system. And confusion rarely leads to attraction. It leads to withdrawal. Now here's where it gets deeper. Presence is one of the most attractive traits a man can have. But most people misunderstand what presence actually is. Presence is not about being loud. It's not about saying the perfect thing. It's not even about confidence in the traditional sense. Presence is about attention, undivided attention. It's about being fully in the moment, without trying to control it, without trying to impress, without trying to rush through it. And women are incredibly attuned to this, because emotional awareness is something they've been developing their entire lives. So when you're distracted, even slightly, she feels it instantly. And when she feels that lack of presence, something inside her quietly pulls back. Not dramatically, not obviously, but enough to change how she sees you. Now let me give you a real-life scenario that might hit close to home. Imagine you're meeting someone you genuinely like. You've been waiting for this moment. There's excitement, and naturally, you go in for a hug. But inside your head, there's noise. Do I look confident? Am I doing this right? What should I say after this? And while all of that is happening internally, your body follows that tension. Your shoulders tighten slightly. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your timing becomes a bit off. And the hug, instead of feeling grounded and natural, feels slightly rushed, slightly disconnected. She may not be able to explain it, but she feels it. And later, when she reflects on the interaction, she might say something like, I don't know, something just felt a little off. That off feeling, that's what lack of presence creates. Now here's the shift, because once you understand this, you realize that attraction isn't about adding more. It's about removing what's in the way. And in most cases, what's in the way is overthinking. So instead of trying to perform the perfect hug, you focus on something much simpler, being there, completely. Now let's transition into what actually creates that feeling she remembers. Because this is where everything changes. The fourth type of hug. The one that separates you instantly. The real masculine hug. And I want you to really visualize this with me. You see her. There's a natural moment where a hug makes sense. But this time, instead of hesitating, instead of analyzing, you move with calm intention. Not fast, not slow, just certain. Your body is grounded, your feet feel stable on the ground. And this might sound small, but it's everything. Because physical grounding sends a signal of emotional grounding. And her body picks up on that immediately. You're not leaning in awkwardly. You're not reaching from a distance. You step in fully. One hand goes naturally between her shoulder blades. The other rests comfortably at the middle of her back. Not too low, not too high, just appropriate. And here's something most men never think about. Alignment. Your chest aligns with hers, not in a forced way, but in a way that feels connected and balanced. This creates a sense of equality in the moment. Not dominance, not submission, connection. There's a steady, consistent pressure, not too tight, not too soft. Just enough to say, I'm here. And then, the detail that changes everything. You breathe, slowly, naturally, without forcing it. Because when you breathe, your nervous system relaxes. And when your nervous system relaxes, hers does too. This is something called emotional mirroring. Human beings subconsciously match each other's internal state. So if you're tense, she feels tension. If you're calm, she feels calm. If you're present, she feels safe. And safety is the foundation of attraction. Now let's talk about timing, because this is where a lot of men either rush or overstay. The ideal hug lasts between 2 to 4 seconds. That's it. And I want you to think about why. Less than that, and it feels like a formality. More than that, and it starts to feel forced or uncomfortable, unless there's already deep intimacy. But 2 to 4 seconds? That's the sweet spot. That's enough time for her body to register the feeling. Enough time for her to subconsciously say, this feels good. And then, you lead the exit. This part is just as important as the hug itself. You don't pull away abruptly. You don't linger awkwardly. You release with calm control. Maybe your hands slide lightly down her arms as you create space, and then you look at her. Eye contact. Relaxed. No rush. No tension. Just presence. And in that exact moment, something clicks. Not in a dramatic, obvious way, but quietly, internally. She feels it. This felt different. And here's the truth. She may not text her friend and say, his hug was perfect, but she will remember how it made her feel. And that feeling becomes associated with you. Now let me ask you something important. Have you ever met someone who didn't say anything extraordinary, didn't do anything flashy, but somehow left a strong impression on you? You couldn't explain it, but you remembered them. That's what presence does. It creates impact without effort. And once you understand this, you stop chasing attention, and you start creating connection. In the next part, we're going to go even deeper into why these small moments shape long-term attraction, and how mastering something as simple as a hug can completely change the way women respond to you. Because what seems small on the surface is often everything underneath. Now here's what most men completely underestimate. A hug is not just a greeting. It's not just something polite you do when you meet someone or say goodbye. It's a signal, a silent message your body sends before your words even have a chance to matter. And the reason this matters so much is because attraction is not built on logic. It's built on feeling. You don't create attraction by explaining who you are. You create it by how you make her feel when she's around you. And moments like a hug, they carry more weight than entire conversations. Let that really sink in, because most men spend hours thinking about what to say, how to impress, how to stand out. But they completely overlook the moments where nothing is being said and everything is being felt. And that's where real connection lives. Think about your own life for a second. There are people you instantly feel comfortable around. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't feel tense. You don't feel like you have to perform. You just relax. And then there are people who make you feel slightly off. Not necessarily bad, just not fully at ease. That difference, it's not about words, it's about energy, presence, subtle emotional signals, and a hug is one of the fastest ways those signals are exchanged. Now, I want you to imagine something. A week has passed after you meet her. She's going through her life, busy, distracted, meeting different people, having different conversations. Logically, she might not remember every detail about you, but emotionally, something stays, a feeling she can't quite explain. A sense of calm, a sense of comfort, a subtle thought in the back of her mind. There was something about him, and that something? That's what we've been talking about this entire time. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's awareness. It's understanding how small moments create emotional impact. Because here's the truth most people never realize. Attraction is built in seconds and reinforced over time, not through grand gestures, but through consistent emotional experiences. And when you start mastering these small details, everything changes. Your interactions feel smoother. Your confidence feels natural, not forced. You stop second-guessing yourself in moments that used to make you hesitate. And most importantly, women start responding to you differently. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're showing up differently. Now let's go even deeper for a moment. Because this isn't just about hugging. It's about how you exist in shared space with another person. A hug is just one expression of something bigger. Your ability to be grounded, your ability to be present, your ability to make someone feel seen without saying a word. And when you develop that, it shows up everywhere. In your eye contact, in your tone of voice, in the way you listen, in the way you move, everything becomes more intentional, more real, more felt. And here's where I want to challenge you. The next time you're in that moment, don't rush. Don't default to what you've always done. Don't let overthinking take control. Instead, slow down internally. Feel your body. Feel your breath. Step into the moment with awareness and just be there. Because connection doesn't come from doing more. It comes from being more present. Now I want you to reflect on something honestly. How many opportunities in your life have felt almost right, but didn't fully land? Moments where something was there, but it didn't turn into something more? Sometimes, it's not about compatibility. Sometimes, it's about how that moment felt. And the powerful part is this. That's something you can change, not by becoming someone else, but by becoming more aware of how you show up. And once you start doing that, you'll notice something interesting. People will start leaning in more. Conversations will feel easier. Silences won't feel awkward anymore, because your presence fills the space. Now let me bring this back to something simple, a hug. 4 seconds or less. No words, no performance, just presence. And yet, it can say everything. That's the level of subtlety most people never learn. But now you have. And that gives you an advantage most men will never even realize exists. So here's what I want you to do after this. Don't try to be perfect. Just practice awareness. In your next interaction, notice how you move. Notice how you breathe. Notice how the other person responds. Because the more aware you become, the more natural this will feel. And the more natural it feels, the more powerful it becomes. Now, if this opened your eyes even a little, if you started seeing these moments differently, then you're exactly where you need to be. On the female signals, we go beyond surface-level advice. We break down the psychology behind attraction, connection, and the subtle emotional cues that most people completely miss. So if you want to understand not just what women say, but what they actually feel, make sure you subscribe and stay with me. Because what you're learning here, most people go their entire lives without ever realizing it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.